the fact that in one of the iterations, and it's the one I actually own, Scooby is the descendant of an eldritch abomination.
Hello, and welcome to the Afterspark podcast, an episode-by-episode recap of the Generation 1 Transformers cartoon. I'm Els.
And I'm Specs.
And hey, we've gotten some new intro and outro music, which is Proof of Concept and Local Cluster, respectively, by Vintergaten. Links and whatnot will be available in our description and a pinned comment, at least on YouTube. And now, let us talk about episode number 55, The Key to Vector Sigma, Part 1. Let's talk about giant robots today, shall we?
Yeah!
And today, on America's highways.
On this episode of Long Haul Truckers,
we see a convoy of trucks carrying some new super fuel as a gift for the Autobots.
everyone is being extremely conscientious about their personal protective gear because they're all wearing hard hats. OSHA approved!
And they're also being escorted by the Autobots.
Specifically, Optimus, Prowl, Smokescreen, and Warpath.
Of course, this being an episode of the Transformers, they are attacked by the Decepticons.
Megatron tells the Coneheads to attack.
And attack they do, with the Autobots and the fuel-carrying trucks entering a canyon for cover.
A very tall, skinny canyon? A pass, perhaps?
Who knows? Two of the Coneheads go face first into a cliff, though.
Ramjet is just not living up to his name today, as he's not one of the ones who got shmooshed, crushed, whatever, into the cliff.
Unfortunately for him, though, not for very long, the Autobots enter a tunnel shortly thereafter and Ramjet rams into the cliff.
Living up to his name!
Finally!
The others recover quickly, though, as they rush to Ramjet's side and then drag him away.
Oh hey, Rumble's here today, too.
Upon seeing his men's failure, Megatron gets wheel envious.
And he attempts to hold them up once the Autobots and the fuel trucks exit the tunnel.
Optimus pointing out that if Megatron shoots the fuel trucks, then he too will explode.
I'm sorry, did we all collectively forget about Megatron living through a huge-ass explosion in Season 1?
I'm gonna go with yes, because everyone here has the memory of a goldfish. They also have, like, zero self-preservation skills, it feels like.
Ain't that the truth? Smokescreen shows up just in the nick of time to blow smoke at Megatron, which stays on him even as he flies away.
It's targeted smoke, like it's just around his head, I think.
At last, Smokescreen's true secret ability has been revealed.
It's funny.
The cons fly off, Megatron bitching about the Autobots all the way.
Soundwave points out that they are not heading towards the base.
And it's almost time for Rumble's nap, you know how he gets.
Megatron replies that they are going to get some wheels.
They arrive at a racetrack.
That has trees and like some buildings and whatever in the middle of the ring, which honestly just seems like a major hazard.
The cons, however, immediately nab the winning car from the current race.
It's a bright yellow Formula One racer.
Rumble yanks out the driver and then drives the Formula One race car away. It's amazing.
It is. It's super funny looking.
Their next target, a red Porsche, is being used as a getaway car by some bank robbers.
That's a surprisingly high-end car for bank robbers.
It's stolen too, obviously.
Either that or, I don't know, they're rich kids that are slumming it.
Something like that.
Rumble strikes again, yanking out the robber and just chucking him away.
Informing him that all he wants is the car, despite the man's insistence that he'll go straight.
And this dude, too, is wearing personal protective equipment, like a hard hat. So why is he wearing personal protective equipment?
Maybe that was their ruse to get into the bank.
I mean, you can do confidence games like that, but I don't know. Maybe. Another randomly hard-hatted man, this time in a big rig and being chased by the police, is Rumble's next target.
We don't know what he did to be getting chased by the police, but he too is chucked out upon the highway in short order.
Yep, and then Rumble drives the truck away.
I don't know why Rumble's the only one stealing these vehicles.
Maybe he's the only one that knows how to drive. Maybe he's the only one that likes playing driving simulation games.
Or canon accepted.
Or, oh god, maybe he dressed up in a stupid disguise and actually got a driver's license.
It's just Rumble in a fedora.
A fedora and trench coat.
Yes!
You know how that goes.
Right. But now, in a purple locale, all 5 of the vehicles that Rumble has presumably stolen are brought together.
Rumble went out, and his hunting and gathering mission was successful. He has returned with a bounty!
A bounty of cars.
Bounty of wheels! For Megatron's wheel envy. Megatron intends to make these into machines of destruction.
Something that we must take literally, as we see him taking part in the process of refitting these vehicles into what amounts to remote control cars right now, anyway.
Well, transforming cars. It's a bit like what we saw in some of those earlier episodes with the weird transforming taxi drones.
Yeah.
Megatron's idea of testing these things is ramming them into a bunch of trees and rocks to verify that their force fields, which we're only just now hearing about, are working.
They can also fly, as demonstrated by the Grey One gracefully sailing through the air.
Such grace. Much wow.
And then the Formula One car drives straight up a wall.
And Rumble is very impressed. Maybe he's wondering if he can drive them again.
I mean, I'm sure they'd be a lot more fun to drive after they have force fields and can drive up walls.
Yeah. Rumble makes a one-off comment about their stunt driving, leading Megatron to pull a great idea, glad I thought of it moment, and dubbing his newly minted remote control car team the Stunticons.
If you've been around this fandom long enough, you might be wondering why we're referring to them as remote control cars, since they're, well, people, technically speaking, but they aren't yet.
The baby boom has not yet happened. If they can give these cars impenetrable force fields, why don't they just use, those impenetrable force fields themselves? I have so many questions.
And there will be no forthcoming answers. At the Ark, the Autobots are watching the news and see Rumble stealing the Formula One car.
And Ratchet's like, why the hell does Megatron want wheels?
Optimus comments that here on Earth, there's no way to give cars cybernetic personalities like themselves. In which case, I have to ask, someone please explain the Dinobots to me.
Wheeljack is just that good.
Wheeljack and Ratchet are just that good.
They're a good team combo.
They are!
Teletran 1 alerts Optimus that the Decepticon space bridge has been activated. And now I'm just imagining a phone app for the Autobots.
The space bridge has been activated.
Yes. Megatron intends to take the Stunticons to Cybertron to endow them with personalities, so off they go to Cybertron!
Megs, buddy, honey, I think you're gonna regret giving them personalities.
Megatron is just too stuck in his own ego to regret anything.
I will give you that.
Shockwave has helpfully plotted a path to Vector Sigma for Megatron.
Our episode namesake for today, Vector Sigma, is an ancient supercomputer at the heart of Cybertron that has the ability to grant new Transformers life. It can also do a bunch of other shit depending on the continuity or episode we're in. But for today, babies.
Babies and possibly some other weird shit, though maybe that comes up later. Life is weird in this universe.
It's very weird.
Unfortunately, they still need a key to activate it.
Fortunately, they know who has it.
Remember Alpha Trion? It's our old buddy Alpha Trion! He's the one who's got it. He's the key.
Back on Earth, the Autobots hop into a Mega Supreme to take a trip to Cybertron.
Couldn't they have just gone and hijacked the space bridge again, or did they just not want to deal with Shockwave today?
I mean, I think that would actually be pretty fair. They do kind of just come out in Shockwave's living room every time they use the space bridge.
That is funny. Our away crew for the day is Optimus, Ratchet, Blaster, Hoist, Wheeljack, and Ironhide.
Next we see Alpha Trion, hoarder of Cybertron, digging through a pile of junk.
Honestly, maybe this is why the female Autobots don't hang around with him.
Maybe.
I mean, they are much better organized than this guy.
That's true. That's true.
The cons attempt to threaten Alpha Trion, who is basically like, I am an old man made of tricks.
But he is quickly tackled by Ravage.
Attack cat!
Soundwave is able to scan the area and immediately finds the key in the junk. Soundwave, the only reason anything gets done in this show ever.
Yeah. This just leads us to question whether all of that hoarding and junk was just supposed to camouflage this important thing that immediately got found.
That's because he wasn't planning on Soundwave.
That's true. He may also just be shit at hiding stuff.
Yeah, that's also true.
Because I'm just imagining, like, the Seekers trying to find it. Remember when they tried to find the female Autobot's base and one of them just picked up a small rock?
That's true! Maybe that's the only reason this worked is because Soundwave was here. I know I made that joke, but seriously?
Soundwave's the only competent one here. You've said it before.
I
said
have
it many
so
times
many
before.
times.
The Autobots arrive on Cybertron and head towards Alpha Trion's hideout and find a rather damaged Alpha Trion.
Ratchet and Wheeljack are able to patch him back up, and off they all head towards Vector Sigma.
And then they all jump down a hole leading into the center of the planet. Good times. Good times. Elsewhere, the cons are being attacked by drones.
And Rumble is casually tossed away.
And these are like bipedal drones, so yeah. Megatron holds up the key and suddenly the drones kneel to him, and honestly, they all look a little bit like Mysterio from Marvel.
Megatron intuits that since the key is a part of Vector Sigma and they are protecting Vector Sigma, it's basically a remote control device for the drones.
I mean, it could be. I want a better explanation than what Megatron does with it, but it could be. He tasks the drones with killing the Autobots while the cons continue on.
The Autobots come across a storage hangar
That looks like it's full of corpses and also space shuttles.
and shortly after leaving said hangar, they run into all the drones Megatron sent to kill them.
Good times, not. Bad
Not
times.
being had by anyone.
Yeah. The Autobots fight the drones but get their butts kicked and have to retreat. I have to wonder how well built these things are.
I have no idea. The cons arrive at Vector Sigma. Rumble is not impressed. I don't know why I'm giving you so many updates on Rumble today. I just really like Rumble and I enjoy his reactions.
I feel like he should be our viewpoint character for this.
Yes!
Megatron reactivates the computer and demands that Vector Sigma give the Stunticons personalities.
Which it does.
Possibly much to the dismay of everyone who interacts with them later, and presenting the Stunticons and all their bright, shiny new toys.
Their leader is Motormaster, who was the Semi.
And he has a sword!
Where-
Sword, I tell you!
Where did the sword come from? Nobody knows.
Do I want to know? Probably not.
Probably not. The red Porsche is Dead End, who seems resigned to his fate and having to listen to Megatron.
Yep. The other two cars we didn't see Rumble steal, a white and blue Lamborghini who introduces himself as Breakdown,
Hello, fellow fans of Transformers Prime. We see you.
and the yellow Formula Racer turns out to be Dragstrip.
And the other car we didn't see Rumbles steal is a gray Ferrari named Wild Rider.
What a bunch of confused babies.
They are.
Yeah. And Megatron just seems to have a thing for European cars.
See, this is how we know he's a villain. He's shitting all over American car craftsmanship.
Admittedly, I don't know the proportions for the Autobots, but they've got
It's
European
true.
cars.
They do. Which does beg the question why there were so many European cars nearby for them to scan the alt modes for with the when the ARC first kind of reawoke.
Well, I mean, it was the 80s. Lamborghinis and Porsches were pretty big for fancy rich people,
Yeah, but
right?
I'm not saying Portland is bad off, but Portland is not the place you think of as having a bunch of fucking Lamborghinis.
That's true. That's true, and that's like 2 Lamborghinis, at least 1 Porsche, a Lancia Stratos.
Yeah, we've already established that Wheeljack is kind of a weird model.
Yeah, and Datsun police car.
Yeah, I'm sure those were. I know we're never really told they're near Portland, but Portland is probably the biggest city that would be near where Mount
St. Hilary.
would actually be if we were equating it to real world-ish locations. So therefore, I'm going to Portland.
I mean, maybe the scanner thing just covered the entire west of the United States. We don't know how fast it goes.
That's fair. I mean, if it went down to California, okay.
California, and I mean, the mid-80s would have been, well, no, this would have been before, like, Microsoft and whatever got big.
Yeah,
For the
I'm
big
not
tech
thinking
companies.
California would have
Yeah.
probably been the bigger one.
Yeah. Let's get back on track.
Yes, sorry. Tangent about cars.
Megatron grabs the key and they leave the Vector Sigma room.
The Autobots arrive back in the junk-filled hangar from before, and Optimus gets the brilliant idea to fix the corpses, the drones, in order to fight the other drones.
And then he gives them all of 2 minutes to do it. Good thing Wheeljack thrives on deadlines!
You say that, but I'm willing to bet Ratchet's not gonna let Optimus be alive in 2 minutes with a deadline like that.
Oh, probably. The cons all head back to Earth via the space bridge.
Then we get some drone-on-drone action, as the Vector Sigma drones rip the other drones apart.
Like, these ones are... They kick the Autobots' asses, and now I'm wondering both how old they are and how well designed they were, because they could probably kick the Decepticons' asses too. The Autobot drones then lead the others off a platform, destroying all of them.
On Earth, Megatron orders the Stunticons to destroy Earth.
Good times had by the babies, I suppose.
They need enrichment.
Yeah. The Stunticons attack an army base by pulling stunts and causing mayhem.
An army general mistakenly assumes they are Autobots.
Well, there's no internet. It's not like there's an entire dossier of known Autobot members running around, is there?
You would think there would be. Well, maybe not the internet, but like, you would think this would be some kind of information that maybe would be given to high-ranking military officials. I don't know.
Yeah. The Autobots arrive at Vector Sigma, but without the key, they don't have a way to access it.
Optimus proposes rebuilding the junky old shuttles into Earth-style jets so they can fight the cons in the skies.
Now it's time for the Autobot baby boom to begin!
So join us next year for episode 56, The Search for Alpha Trion, Part 2.
With some bouncing baby jets.
Yes! And I believe we have some fanfic recommendations for today.
That we do. The first fanfic rec is Awakenings by author QOS. Continuity is G1 cartoon, it's rated T, it's Gen, no pairings. Our characters here are Megatron, Motormaster, Dead End, Breakdown, Dragstrip, and Wild Rider. Though Wild Rider's section hasn't shown up yet. Or not shown up, they just haven't completed it yet. In summary, the first few seconds after Vector Sigma programs the Stunticons from their points of view. And our theme here is basically, it's the Stunticons! It's them being babies, basically. Brand new babies just dealing with being brand new babies, and the whole Megatron being like, tell me your allegiance! Pretty much. And it's currently 4 parts of a 5-parter. And it was last updated, I think, towards the end of last month, so the author may finish soon? Maybe? The second fanfic rec is Rolling Start by 13th_Kingdom. It's in the G1 cartoon continuity. It's rated T. It's a Gen. No pairings, and our characters here are Dragstrip, Wild Rider, Motormaster, Breakdown, and Dead End. And in summary, neither fully belonging to Earth nor Cybertron, Dragstrip is the first of the Stunticon team to begin to feel displaced due to the nature of his birth. After sentience granted, after faction given, after the war thrust upon him, he means to define his own path rather than settling into the role assigned. It was the first of what was apparently supposed to be a series of Stunticon character studies, but this one was the only one that the author completed. So, it's basically a one-shot. But it was pretty interesting to view how, or to see how Dragstrip viewed the others and himself. So yeah, I'd recommend those, and let's go to owls.
Alright, so we have a fan art recommendation for today, and I am not even going to try to pronounce this, so give me one moment.
Mangalho.
So, evidently they're Portuguese.
Mangalo?
Yes, I think. Their name appears to me Mariana Candido?
Candida.
They are from Portugal. I was just like, we're just gonna look up how to say this in Portuguese, because I am not good at it. We have links to their Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and their portfolio website, essentially.
Nice.
The bulk of their stuff seems to be IDW. They have excellent detail and kind of structure to the characters in their drawings. I really enjoy some of the comics they've posted, and they have actually made some of my favorite Minimus Megatron art, which we've linked along with a comic involving Rung and a picture of Cyclonus. Just, you know, kind of tender schmoopy shit.
Yeah, I think I've seen their work before. I really like it.
Yeah, I've reblogged it multiple times, so that might be why.
Yeah.
The world's most depressed Cyclonus.
Yeah, I've definitely seen their work before. It's very fun. And that background picture.
I know, their Tumblr is a treat, by the way. If you're viewing it on computer, highly recommend. And then it's essentially Rung telling, God, which one is
Freud.
This? Freud, that he's his greatest mistake.
That is an excellent Rung face
10 out of 10.
at the end.
Love.
You were my biggest mistake.
Yeah, he's not wrong. That's pretty fucking creepy.
Yes, I know. And that just about wraps it up for us today. Remember to check us out on Tumblr or Pillowfort as Afterspark-podcast for any additional information, show notes, or links we may have mentioned. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at AftersparkPod, all one word, and various other locations by searching for Afterspark Podcast, such as AO3, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, just to name a few. And feel free to send us questions on Tumblr, YouTube, or AO3. Till next time, I'm Specs.
And I'm Els.
Toodles!